Hello, and welcome to warmpages.com, the soon-to-be best book review site in the known universe. This is the book of the month for May 2011, and it just so happens to be the very first one, so it might be a little rough in places, but then again, so is everything in life. Straight on with the review then. This is the Fomor prophecy. You'll probably not have heard of it, but with the help of warmpages.com and you, it might be the next international bestseller. The synopsis from the back of the book reads: When he was a small boy, Ken Fallon looked up at the night sky and wondered, was there anyone out there looking back from some distant star, and had they ever visited us? Years later, a series of apparently random events finds him on the wild Aran Islands at the very edge of the Atlantic Ocean. What is the connection between the theft of an ancient manuscript from the prehistoric burial mound at Newgrange in the west of Ireland and the ruthless Nemon Corporation? What is the significance of the small ruined church nearby and the cryptic warnings carved into the standing stones in long-dead Ogham script? Ken must unravel the trail of clues scattered throughout antiquity, of ancient battles with inhuman adversaries, suppressed facts and deliberately altered history. Someone is manipulating the development of life on Earth, and the time has come for him to face his demon in order to uncover the truth. But the Fomor prophecy holds a far darker secret than he can possibly imagine. Well, that's the synopsis, but what's the plot? Well, in a nutshell, it's boy meets girl, boy gets fed up with job and moves away, boy arrives on a small island and meets a new girl, boy meets a creature thing, and his old girl gets very pissed off. Supernatural artifacts, chasers and unrestrained use of firearms follow in gratuitous amounts, and lots of other stuff that I can't mention without screwing up the ending for you. Main characterisations are fairly well presented. The primary lead, Ken Fallon, is early 20s with the usual problems and not much ambition. Car problems, girl problems and then job problems. A life we can all identify with on some level. Next we meet Ellie, attractive, intelligent and well dressed, kind of the exact opposite of Ken in just about every respect. She has a depth of feelings that are never fully expressed adequately, which leads to a remarkable amount of suppressed anger. Next we come to Professor Nemon, who is casually evil in a wonderfully understated way. His background is shrouded in some mystery, but from what we learn about him, and in his appearance, he is definitely exceptionally old. He is the head of the infamous Nemon Corporation, who are involved in some very dark research indeed. Professor Nemon is manipulative and devious, and will stop at nothing to get what he wants. Or better still, manipulate other people to do his dirty work for him. I really liked him. Next is Kate, a young woman the same age as Ken, who is content with life on Inishmore, enjoying the slower pace of island life away from the strife and commotion of city living. Kate is Ken's guide, and ours too, as he starts to uncover the local folklore and peculiar origins of the prehistoric fort of Dunangus. Unfortunately for her, island life isn't going to stay gentle and tranquil for much longer. The rocket is on the pad and the countdown has started. Add into this mix a psychopathic neighbour with a shotgun, his wife who's trying to feed Ken to death, a TV news team who would rather be anywhere else, incompetent police officers who are more concerned with their appearance and preconceptions to bother with anything as inconsequential as the truth, and something not entirely of this earth. These are the seeds of the Fomor prophecy. Over the next 490 pages they grow and intertwine in some surprising and entertaining ways. The writing style is light and easygoing, with some of the scenes leaning heavily on situation humour, like in the case of the frozen field firefight. The first extract I'm going to read from the Fomor prophecy is the frozen field firefight. "Okay team, you heard the captain, let's move out." They warily picked themselves up and started to move forward when they all saw it at the same instant. Dwight was the first to speak. "What the hell is that thing?" "Oh my God, look how much heat it's giving off. It looks on fire." Eugene's voice wavered, his earlier confidence deserting him. "If the part we can see above the wall has such a huge heat signature, the whole thing must be gigantic," added Clarence. "Go in full auto." He flicked the small lever above the trigger that instantly turned his weapon from single shot to fully automatic machine gun. On top of the far wall an incandescent glowing ball had appeared out of nowhere. It was radiating more heat than their night goggles could adjust to, suggesting it was incredibly hot or part of something much larger that remained hidden behind the cold stone. "I suggest the reinforcements have arrived. Take it down, team," commanded Dwight, taking charge of the situation. Clarence aimed from the hip, putting the red dot just above wall height and squeezing the trigger. 4 seconds later his gun fell silent in a drifting cloud of acrid smoke as the last shell case bounced to a stop on the frozen ground. His magazine was empty. Unfortunately, the sight had been calibrated to hit targets 100 yards away, and shooting at an object at only 30 yards caused the 25 hollow-point bullets to tear into the irregular limestone blocks 4 inches below point of aim. Rebounding bullets and flying stone fragments filled the air, several hitting Lance and his team, inflicting considerably more damage to them than the intended target. The fiery creature remained motionless. At any second Lance thought it would rise to full height, leap the wall and charge towards them. "Switching to grenade launcher." Eugene's voice sounded worryingly calm to everyone listening. "Grenade launcher?" Dwight's concern was to prove justified. The second extract takes place in a ruined church at night, and shows a different style and pace of writing. Surveying the room one final time before leaving, her attention was drawn to a dim glow on the ledge at the far end. The soft green luminescence was almost imperceptible from this distance, but she was curious as to the source. Keeping the torch trained on the ledge so as not to lose it, she stepped carefully over the fallen debris. As she moved nearer, she saw it was coming from the dial of a wristwatch. Who would have left their wristwatch in such a desolate place? As she considered the implications of that question, she almost tripped over an obstruction on the floor and shone the torch downwards to see what it was. At first her mind refused to recognize the sight of a crumpled body lying face downwards behind a pile of stones. She stood in the falling rain staring without comprehending. Although the face was hidden, in her heart she knew who it was. Dropping to both knees on the broken stone, she was overwhelmed with the instant grief that tore at her inside, like a desperate animal trying to claw its way out through her throat. Even as she reached towards him, emotion started welling up. Rolling the motionless form over, she cradled Ken in her arms and wiped some of the rainwater from his face with her hand. His face was streaked with mud, which the water washed away at her touch. His eyes were shut, and she thought irrationally he was just asleep. As the light moved to his chest, she noticed the red blood stain on his clothes and cried out in anguish. Holding him tightly to her, she began to cry. Quietly the tears streamed down her face as her body was racked by unrestrained sobbing. If only she had managed to get here sooner, she might have been able to prevent him coming to harm. Tears of guilt and remorse flowed freely, but they did not dilute her pain. So, to sum up the Fomor prophecy, if you like your adventures fast-paced with pleasing characters, gritty locations and a touch of humour, not forgetting the dark conspiracy running through the middle, then you won't be disappointed by this one. For long hot days by the pool or long winter nights by the fireside, the Fomor prophecy could be the perfect companion. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. This is just an example review of what we're trying to do at warmpages.com. So, good morning, good evening or good night, wherever you are in the world. And please visit us soon at www.warmpages.com. Thank you.